All right. Welcome to Being You, an SPH Productions presentation. My name is Shane Hodges, licensed professional counselor and author of It's Time to Be You, How to Become Your Most Authentic Self. Today's guest is my husband, DeMarcio Slaughter, Emcee of Denver Pridefest for the past 23 years. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting me come into our home and have this conversation with you.
Our first segment is called I'm Just Rapid Fire Q&A, where you and I will each get 30 seconds to ask each other as many questions as we can.
Okay.
Very quick and easy questions with first answer that comes to me. We flipped a coin beforehand, and you will be going first today.
I'll ask you.
So,
ready.
Let me get my timer started. All right. And go.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
What makes you laugh the most?
Oh, crazy videos.
The first classic Hollywood movie that comes to your mind.
Oh. Oh, wow. Classic Hollywood movie.
Hollywood movies. Okay, that counts. What's your first music CD?
CD was Grease soundtrack.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, teleportation.
If you could choose a celebrity to be your bestie, who would it be?
Kate.
What's your favorite time of day?
Not morning. Just 30 seconds. Yeah. Are you ready for yours?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite animal?
Kangaroo.
Who was your first kiss?
CD Reeler. And yeah, okay. Wow.
Okay. Favorite dessert?
Anything with apples.
An actor you find sexy?
And fellow travelers. Both of them. I can't think of his name. John.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, yes.
Least favorite holiday?
Least favorite? Probably maybe Easter.
Who's your diva? And time's up.
Okay.
All right.
Least favorite holiday. That's new. I never thought of that.
All right. We will move into our next segment. This is called What's Your Deal? This is where we get to know a little bit about what you do.
Gotcha.
So as we mentioned, you have been doing Pridefest for 24 years,
right.
23 years.
Mm-hmm.
How did emceeing Pridefest come about?
I actually was helping out drag queens at the time, and they could never get ready on time, so they would always give me the mic and the Mercy, go stall for us. I would go out on stage with the mic and I would tell jokes, and I would just stall. The stalling slowly turned into emceeing and navigating the show. So when those drag queens got an opportunity to do Pridefest, I was there emceeing and slowly took over somehow. Don't know, but that was 20 some years ago.
Interesting. So you would have been roughly, 12?
I was, yes, husband, I was 12.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you do it?
I do it because, one, it's cool. But most importantly, I do it because there's always someone out there celebrating their first Pride, and to be a part of that memory and curate a really safe environment and experience is super important to me and the team. So that's why we keep getting out there to do what we do.
You made the comment, someone celebrating their first Pride. What do you see when you look out from the stage?
I see a lot of young folks, lots of folks younger than me, but just kids, energy, positive folks, just positive energy, folks who want to have a good time, dance and sing and forget about all of the worries and troubles and just come together to be safe and celebrate who they are. That's what I see. And it's important to me that we, do our part to elevate that.
You mentioned seeing people for the first time, and you mentioned kids.
Mm-hmm.
What do you notice in terms of the
all seem my kids to me? They all seem my kids to me. They're younger. When I started doing this 20 years ago, it was primarily men and a little bit of the lesbian community that would come support. And over the years, as things are more accepting, there's just a younger demographic of kids who are 14, 12, 9 years old out there, and they just cling to the front of the stage, and they hang on every word, and they love to see the entertainers from RuPaul's Drag Race and the different dancers, because they're not old enough to get into the clubs and see that type of entertainment yet. And so we provide a family-friendly kind of PG-13 fun show that really hopefully appeals to the different tastes of the demographic of the audience, because it's so vast. Mm. It's so diverse.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. In the 2+ decades that you've been doing it, How have you seen things evolve? How has the festival as well as you?
It's just bigger. It's just bigger. When I first started, it was half a day. It was half a day.
Oh, wow.
Of just Sunday afternoon. And so, filling 4 hours was nothing back then. And now it's, 2 days, all weekend.
2 full days.
2 full day, 18 hours, 18, 19 hours of entertainment that we're trying to program and being as eclectic as possible. So it's grown. It's a lot busier. It's a lot more work. However, I think we do a good job. We try to.
I'm sure that in that amount of time, there have been many, but can you share a memorable moment that stands out?
A lot. Jennifer Holliday, when she was there watching her audition, or rehearsal that morning, she came around early to rehearse and it was just us and Jennifer Holliday on the stage where she's belting out all of this hits from Dreamgirls. That was really cool. Cece Peniston was actually my first one by myself when I took over, and announcing her to the audience and hearing and feeling just that energy of them screaming and cheering is something literally that blew me back on the stage. Physically, the positive energy of the screams pushed me back. And that was something I'll never forget. It's hard to describe to those individuals who've never been on stage receiving that type of energy, but it really stands out. It's really, having those moments is really cool.
So 2 decades in, as your husband and many of our friends might attest, there have been many times where you've mentioned retirement.
This is it. I'm going to quit.
About that. But what do you see the future of Pride being, or what would you hope for it?
I hope that the center who puts on Pride can find individuals who are committed to making the best entertainment for the people and really hearing what the audience wants, so that it can continue to grow and just be a fun-loving festival. I don't think it can be all drag queens. It can't be all bands. It needs to be just a diverse mix of the entertainment in the community. Cause that's entertaining when folks are standing out there in the sun on the concrete. You want to make it as unique and eclectic as possible.
Very cool. Last question regarding Pride Fest, at least for now. What would you like your legacy to be?
I would like when folks see me out years from now, I would love it if they just came up and said, you were my first Pride Fest, or I remember this Pride Fest when you did XYZ. And when we talk about XYZ, it's creating that memory that really stands out to them, that of course over 20 years and multiple hours of shows, I forget, but I love it when folks come up and say, you did this, you said this, you pulled me on stage, you gave my mom a hug, we took a photo, you introduced me to a drag queen. These are just moments that and I say we because not just me, the team does to make a good show, but you have moments where you can really positively impact someone's life and you take it and you own it and you do something with it. So I would like that legacy to be, really having impactful moments on folks' lives.
I completely understand that. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that information.
Thanks.
It's amazing that you've been doing it for so long. Now let's move into our next segment. Who are you?
All right.
Let's get a little more personal. Outside of Pride Fest, what can you tell us about who DeMarcio is?
I am, funny answering these questions for you because you know me like 16 years. I'm just quiet. I'm a quiet person. I like to be around quality. I like to be around quality individuals. I don't need to go out as much as I used to. I'm a homebody. I'm soft spoken at times because I talk for a living in my job as well as at Pride. I'm not really loud. I'm an introvert in an extrovert type of world. I think folks don't recognize that about me.
And a lot of people probably don't know. What do you do for work?
I am a director of training and development for a hospitality company. And so I get to travel around giving seminars on guest service, proper etiquette, leadership skills. Basically, I like to say teaching people how to be nice if you want to work in hotels. And I've been doing that for 20 years, a few months ago. 20 years I've been doing this. So
time flies.
Yeah. So between Pride and the work, literally all I do is talk.
What is something that a lot of people assume about you that isn't true?
I think, people might assume that I'm maybe cocky or shallow, self-centered because of the persona or image that is sometimes given on stage. How the costumes or the physique. I do love to work out. I do like to take care of myself, but I'm not like some musclehead jock stereotype where just because I work out, I'm better than you. I mean, that's not true. Our friend group is all diverse. And so I think then sometimes when I'm talking to people, they'll say, I didn't, you're a lot nicer than I thought you would be, or you're a lot quieter because you're not, I'm not some intimidating.
I get that. And for those of you that see the muscles, I can tell you one thing that shocks me and everybody asks me about, or assumes, is that he eats well.
Nope.
He does not. Sugar. You did mention working in hospitality. How do you feel that career has shaped you?
I'm nice all the damn time. I have been in hotels. My first job was at Chuck E. Cheese as a birthday host. So I was always catering to not just the kids, but the paying adults. And I really transferred that into my hospitality career of just taking care of the paying customer. So I'm nice all the time.
It brings up a question related to authenticity. How often does that nice feel forced?
How often does it feel forced? I wouldn't say. I think it feels forced when I'm tired or I have to go out and do some. I mean, we all have those parties or dinners or maybe you got to go to because it's nice, the right thing to do. And sometimes I want to just be quiet and be a wallflower at those, and I can't because DeMarcio, woohoo. So I wouldn't say I don't feel forced to be nice. I do recognize that sometimes I just have to force myself not to be as quiet.
Gotcha. What is something you enjoy doing in your spare time?
I am a big Diana Ross fan. Everybody who knows me knows that. I've seen Diana 280 sometimes, which includes the 2 concerts I haven't told you about that's happening. I'm a big Transformer fan. I play with my Transformers from the 1980s. I love music. I like orchestrated music. Lots of you see me conducting in the car. I love full sounding, like complex, robust music. But at the end of the day, I'm just a big homebody. I'm a big kind of nerd geek. Keep to myself when I can. But we love to have folks over, like party and laugh.
What are your thoughts on how or why it has been or can be difficult for you to be authentic?
Oh, geez. And, as a black man who grew up, a black person who grew up in Colorado Springs in the 80s, I was I was always the only black kid in the room, and I got used to that, and I adapted that into my defense mechanism of making sure that I made the joke about it before anybody else did. And I carried that obviously through school, junior high school, into college. So I recognize that I always stood out when we talk about being authentic. As I've gotten older, and with your help, I've learned that there's a piece of me that I don't have to show all the time. And I can be, like, obviously with you, I'm my very, very real self. But I'm more comfortable around that now with other people, and also explaining that to folks, like, this is me. So don't get offended if I'm quieter or if I'm not the stage persona. This is really who I am. So being able to communicate has really helped with my authenticity. But I grew up in a world where I always stood out. So I had to be a certain way, and how I was raised. So when you add that into, the hospitality side of just my profession is being nice and I stand out, I mean, it can be tough.
And I want to ask about that standing out.
Mm-hmm.
In what ways has that been, or is it even now, positive or negative?
I've turned it into a positive now because I'm comfortable with it. I recognize that is my industry and who I am. At the time, going through school, the story. When a history teacher called on me to answer a question, and she said, "Let's hear from our token student." And at the moment, it didn't register on me what she meant, but I was the only black kid.
Why?
I think I got good grades. Maybe I was a token because I got good grades in that class. I don't know.
When did you come to realize what that phrase meant?
When I think I was watching an episode of South Park and it called him Dogen, and I watched that whole thing. I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. And again, I don't think there was negativity or malice behind the comment. However, I was always the one Black kid in school. And I remember once in second or third grade, we had a substitute who was Black, and I had never seen a Black teacher.
Oh, wow.
And that's since like kindergarten when I grew up in Chicago. So I'd never seen that in Colorado Springs. So I actually skipped a recess to hang out with her.
Wow.
Because she reminded me of like my grandmother. Now I'd never seen that. So it's different.
Thank you for sharing that. That brings us to the wow segment of our show, words of wisdom.
Okay, words of wisdom.
Tell us, what words of wisdom would you have for others in regard to being their authentic selves?
I'm still working on this for me. And a word of wisdom is to do your best to not be so wrapped up in what other individuals or folks might think about you. And not everyone's going to like you. I encourage you to be a jerk and be your best self. And some individuals won't like your best self or who you naturally are. And the word of wisdom is to be comfortable in that. As long as I think if you're being a good person and true to who you are, that's would be my word of wisdom. And communicate. Folks are so quick to not express how they feel for fear of hurting someone else. And I think there's a way, I like to say in my training classes, there's productive communication. There's a way that you can express yourself without attacking or hurting someone. Like when we have serious conversations, I just open up by saying, this may not come out as smooth as I want it to, but here's how I'm feeling. Please don't take offense. And we speak from the heart. So you open up that window so that people can just productively communicate.
I've trained him well. Well, thank you so much for being a guest and sharing information.
Thank you for letting me in my own home. Be a guest.
I'm talking now. In terms of the Pride Fest aspect of things, for those who don't know, Denver Pridefest is in June. It is one of the largest.
In June.
Okay, one of the largest Pride Fest in the country. One of the only 2-day festivals in the country.
Only 2-day festival, third largest, and I think the largest free festival in the country.
Okay, and then our parade is also in one of the in terms of size.
Top 5, top 10, somewhere, yeah.
So, in terms of individuals who may be interested in volunteering, entertainment, performing, how can people get involved?
Sure. Contact the center at glbtcolorado.org. They have online applications there. You can always find me on the socials and send me a link. I'm always looking for different entertainers, my team and I. And there's always a way to outreach. Don't think that you can't outreach. There's always a way to call somebody. Don't ever say, I couldn't get on the stage. Nope. You call somebody, pick up a phone, text someone, communicate. They're the way to get it out there.
And at least for the last several years, I know they've done auditions.
Yes.
Is that expected to be done again this year?
Auditions will happen usually in the spring, March or April.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for being here. Once again, my name is Shane Hodges, licensed professional counselor and author of It's Time to Be You, How to Become Your Most Authentic Self. You can also find me on the socials at Denver Guy 76. My website is sphproductions.com. And I want to say to everyone, thank you for joining in. Be yourself. Be authentic, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Enjoy yourself, and I wish you the best. Thank you, and have a great day.
Now can we go get lunch?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that.